Kia ora koto katoa. I begin by acknowledging the Ngunnawal and Ngambri peoples, whose dispossession and displacement constitutes this infrastructure of democracy. When talking about hate in systemic ways, our decolonizing registers invite us to critically evaluate the infrastructures of hate that shape the settler colonial apparatus. The hate politics that underlies the communicative infrastructure of Hindutva, a far-right fascist ideology, has grown exponentially over the past decade since the election of the Bharatiya Janata Party or the BJP led by Narendra Modi to power in 2014. This hate has further accelerated over the last 5 years, catalyzed and multiplied manifold over digital platforms. As a social scientist who studies the structural determinants of health among marginalized communities, I am deeply concerned about the effect of this proliferating hate targeting minorities and particularly India's 220 million Muslim minority population. Our research at the Center for Culture-Centered Approach to Research and Evaluation, or CARE, carried out with Indian Muslims, documents the harmful effects of this proliferating hate, reflected in mental health challenges to disengagement from public spaces. It is worth noting here that the infrastructure of digital hate is held up and propagated by a brick-and-mortar infrastructure in the form of Islamophobic hate speeches, speeches that call for various forms of violence, including rape and genocide of Indian Muslims. I want to highlight that these hate speeches are often delivered by ruling politicians of the BJP and connected religious figures within the Hindutva ecosystem. Consider, for instance, that earlier this year, the following utterance by Devendra Fadnavis, Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, at a rally in Ayodhya, near where Hindutva mobs demolished the iconic Babri Mosque in 1992, and where the Modi government is planning to consecrate a new Hindu temple. I quote, "The fact is, India has a Hindu majority, and in that sense, it is already a Hindu Rashtra," referring to a Hindu nation, end quote. Consider similarly the Islamophobic speeches that were delivered by Modi, then Chief Minister of Gujarat, leading up to the Gujarat pogrom in 2002. Online, mainstream media, and offline discourse are replete with the propaganda narrative of love jihad, land jihad, COVID jihad, and so on, with dangerous effects. I want to reiterate here that these Islamophobic hate discourses have brick-and-mortar effects, as we have witnessed recently, in the form of sword-brandishing Hindu mobs dancing to Islamophobic hate, music glorifying the extermination of Muslims outside mosques, attacking mosques and schools, and attacking Muslims in public spaces. Also important to highlight here is the terrorizing role of organizations such as the Bajrang Dal, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad or the VHP, and the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh or the RSS as parts of this hate ecosystem. This rapid rise of genocidal hate discourse is accompanied by systemic attacks on dissenting voices, silencing them, incarcerating dissenters, and carrying out various forms of harassment directed at dissenters. That the BBC documentary that is screened today was censored in India is a reflection of this organized attack on critical voices by the state, often using institutional structures. Here in the diaspora, a false narrative, what I define as communicative inversion in my scholarship of Hinduphobia or fear of the Hindu, is deployed to target and harass critical voices. The role of the Indian diaspora globally in the United States, United Kingdom, Aotearoa, New Zealand, and Australia is essential to the growth of Hindutva in India. The diaspora funds, volunteers for, and gives legitimacy to Hindutva. Here in Australia, for instance, an active Hindutva network of digital accounts seeds and propagates Islamophobic hate, interfacing with Hindutva hate media and political organizations in India, and mobilizing hate-based attacks in places such as Leicester and Aotearoa, New Zealand. Hindutva poses a threat to our democracies here in the region and must be addressed at a structural level. This is particularly salient in the backdrop of the intersecting hate propelled by white supremacist actors such as Tommy Robinson and Proud Boys, and the ways in which that ties in with Hindutva, and the nature of this hate that is evidenced here in Australia. I wrap up with my acknowledgement of Harun Kasim and the Humanism Project, Muslim Collective, Periyar Ambedkar Thought Circle, and Hindus for Human Rights for your leadership in sustaining the space for witnessing the effects of Hindutva, both in India and in the diaspora. Collectively, I believe our struggles for peace will prevail. Namahe.